Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Khalil A. Colonna, and this is Nashville. Over the past 2 years, there has been a refugee crisis in Afghanistan and Ukraine. Millions have fled their homes, leaving friends, possessions, pets, and in some cases, family behind. Some of these refugees have resettled right here in Middle Tennessee. So, what has that experience been like? We'll invite refugees from both countries to tell us firsthand just how long the process of resettling and making a new home in a new country can be. But first, in a historic act of partisan retaliation, the Tennessee GOP expelled 2 black freshman Democrats from the House of Representatives yesterday. It was an arduous 6+ hours of deliberating. A third lawmaker, Representative Gloria Johnson, was spared. The 3 were accused of breaking House rules by participating in a gun control protest last week on the chamber floor. Today, President Biden called the expulsions, quote, shocking and, quote, undemocratic. And Vice President Kamala Harris is set to meet with the expelled lawmakers here in Nashville later today. National media descended outside the state capitol yesterday, but inside, we had WPLN's own political reporter, Blaise Gainey, reporting live, and he joins us now. Blaise, how are you doing?
Tired.
I imagine, my friend. I imagine. But thank you for the dedication and work that you've been doing. So let's start with how the House got to this point.
Yeah, so these 3 Democratic lawmakers you mentioned earlier went to the podium, which is the well. It's sort of a sacred almost place where you go to present bills. In the middle of session, they did this and went to speak about the need to address gun control. This was days after the 6 lives were taken by a school shooter wielding 2 assault rifles and a pistol. But they said that all they were doing was just uplifting the voices of the thousands of protesters who, for the most part, Republicans were ignoring. Usually when you have guests in the gallery that you recognize, they take a moment to recognize who's in the gallery. Mm-hmm. They didn't do that when both galleries were full, up to at least 200 people there. With signs, and they just ignored them. Mm-hmm. And so these 3 lawmakers felt like they don't want them to be ignored. They tried to speak about it. Their mics were cut, and so they went up to the front.
Okay. Now, other than immediately after this civil war, only 2 lawmakers have ever been expelled, and that was over criminal behavior. One was convicted for bribery, the other dealing with allegations of sexual misconduct. It's pretty hard not to notice this contrast. So why expel these freshman Democrats over breaking a House rule? Like, what is the message from the GOP here in Tennessee?
Well, what House Speaker Cameron Sexton said, or the House GOP's Twitter said, is unprecedented actions get unprecedented consequences. But a lot of people do believe that these consequences are way too harsh. They could have been censured, meaning they, don't get a chance to talk for the rest of session. They could have done that. It would have essentially had the same effect, since Republicans have a supermajority, and those 2 votes wouldn't change an outcome that if the Republican Party is truly behind an initiative, they will get it passed. So the fact that they got expelled over breaking a House rule, which Speaker Sexton told reporters last night that House rules are broken almost every day. Mm-hmm. Committee rules are broken. People speak out of turn all the time. But for some reason, when these young black men broke the rules, they were given a harsh penalty.
So what has the public's reaction been to these expulsions?
Just as surprised as, I believe, President Biden was, saying that this is, I don't know if he used the word shocking, but it is shocking. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it was a House rule. If you didn't take the trash out last night, I would hope that your mom wouldn't put you up for adoption.
Yeah.
That's almost as serious as this is here.
Now, Jones and Pearson are both black, and there are only 15 black representatives in the 99-person House. How much did race play as a role in their expulsion, do you think?
The Tennessee Black Caucus was quick to point that out. Let's hear what they had to say.
The world saw the optics. I don't have to say a word about the fact that our 2 young African-American brothers were unfairly prosecuted
as we were walking, specifically when we were walking Representative Jones out of the chamber, many of us were fighting back tears. And when we went back into the chamber, many of our tears broke. And it was a shame to see some of the smirks, some of the smiles that some of our colleagues on the other side of the aisle had.
That was Representative Sam McKenzie and Representative Jesse Chisholm, who spoke this morning on the expulsions. And Gloria Johnson, who is white, is the only one of the three lawmakers who was not expelled. But she also said that she believes it was because of the color of her skin. So, Jones and Pearson were also two of the youngest lawmakers, younger than me. I'm 32. They're under 30, I believe, 28 and 29. I could be wrong. But, the point is they're young. They fight back. And they get in, not physically, but get in their face, just with the words. Mm-hmm. Millions of people saw that last night on the House floor. And so I think that they just didn't want that pushback.
What has been the Republican reaction today?
Did you hear that? That was their reaction. They didn't say a word. They haven't said a word all day. Last night they released that thing saying unprecedented actions get unprecedented consequences, but they haven't said much at all. Last night, House Leader William Lamberth told reporters that he doesn't see ethnicity when we asked if race had anything to do with this. And it's very hard to see or not see ethnicity unless you're blind. But even if you're blind, you could probably hear and feel the ethnicity that comes out of people. So it was just really weird moment.
Blind or willfully ignorant. Okay, so, we're already hearing that Metro Council is going to meet on Monday afternoon to decide what to do about the vacancy left by former Representative Jones's expulsion. What's next for the Nashville seat and Pearson's district in Memphis?
Yeah, so there could be a special election, but before that happens, both county commissions will have a chance to seat whoever they like. And so both several Metro Council members have already said that they would want to reseat Representative Justin Jones, which would send a message to the GOP that this is who they want representing them. They sent him there because of his activist background and because of how boisterous and loud he can be and in your face he can be. And I would say the same for Representative Justin J. Pearson in Memphis. They have all, at least one person has come out and said that they want to reseat him, and Democrats in Shelby County have a 9-member lead. So therefore, if all the Democrats there choose Justin J. Pearson, he will be back.
Now, do we know if Jones and Pearson even want to return to the Capitol after how they were treated?
Jones told NPR this morning he is interested in being reseated. He's already started fundraising. Pearson appears to have reactivated his fundraising as well. And they did that as soon as they were expelled. And so I think they already knew in their heads exactly where this was going.
I do think this raises some questions about the environment of the legislature, even if they do come back. I wonder if they'll ever feel welcome. Like, can they even say what they need to say to represent their constituents?
That's a great question. And I think if we learned anything from last night is that they're going to say what they want to say, no matter what it takes to get that across. And Representative Tory Harris spoke up and gave a great, response. He spoke directly to Representative Justin Jones and told him that he's went through the same exact things. Representative Tory Harris is from Memphis. He's a black, openly gay man. So he said that he's also raised his hand in the speaking committee and been ignored. He's also went to House Speaker Cameron Sexton and asked to be taken off of committees because he felt that he could not voice what he wanted to on the committee without being ignored or just not appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm just very, very curious about where we go in the future. Let's take a listen to a clip from Representative Justin Pearson.
But then you come here to persecute me and tell me you just don't understand the rules of debate, when I know for a fact this House has not been a place of debate for Democrats. This house has not been a place of debate for people who are transgender. This house has not been a place of debate for people who are LGBTQIA. This house has not been a place of debate for people who are already persecuted in our society. This house ain't even been a place of debate for people who wear beautiful dashikis.
You know, I was on a month ago talking about Pearson and that decision to wear his all-black, beautiful dashiki to his swearing-in ceremony. After that, he gained 3,000 followers on Instagram, and after last night's expulsion, he's at nearly 50,000. For Jones, he's over 100,000 on Twitter, and I believe actually 1 million on Twitter, 100,000 on Instagram. So it's clear that a lot of people like what they heard last night from the two, and I expect to see them in the future back on a national platform.
That was WPLN's Blaise Gainey, who has never had a week quite like this at the Capitol. We are grateful to have you on the team, Blaise. Thank you again for all of your hard work this week and for your reporting, my friend.
Thank you.
We have to take a short break. When we come back, we'll meet one family who resettled here after fleeing Kharkiv just over a year ago. If you're a refugee here in Middle Tennessee, we want to hear what your experience has been like resettling here. So tweet us at This Is Nashville. We'll be right back.
Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Khalil Ekolona, and this is Nashville. The past 2 years has seen two major refugee crises. The first was sparked by the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. Then, just over a year ago, Russia invaded Ukraine, leaving nearly 6 million people internally displaced and sending 8 million more people over the border as refugees. The majority are women and children due to martial law in Ukraine, which prohibits men between the ages of 18 and 60 from leaving the country. Almost 300,000 Ukrainians have been resettled in the United States, including right here in Middle Tennessee. But relocating to a new city is just the start. From getting permission to work, to finding a job, to getting around town, to learning how to help your kid with schoolwork in a whole new language, resettlement is a long and all-encompassing process. My next guest, Natalia Diachenko, knows that process firsthand, and she joins us now with her daughter Liz, who is actually already here in Nashville as a student athlete at Lipscomb when the war broke out. Natalia, Liz, welcome to This Is Nashville. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Now, first of all, Liz, I understand that you're about to graduate with your MBA from Lipscomb in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, super exciting.
It's very exciting. Let me offer you an early congratulations.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Now, you must be very proud, Natalia.
Sure. Yeah. She's a beautiful daughter.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Now, tell me, you're from Kharkiv.
Yes.
Which is a town very close to the Russian.
So close to Russian border, yeah.
Yeah. Take us back to last February, if you don't mind. What was that time like for you and your younger daughter?
It was maybe 5 a.m. and my friend called me to the telephone and say the war is started. It was terrible news for us, and we could not believe about it because Russia was our neighbor many years and many. We all the time live like so close and together. We were in one country. We were in Soviet Union, and it was a terrible news for us. Yeah.
Tell me, how did you make the decision to leave your town?
We lived around 2 weeks in a basement in our house because to be in a floor was so dangerous. We heard every day this bombing, and it was so difficult to leave animals. We had many pets in the house, and we decided to go to the central Ukraine, and we thought that it will be only 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. And when we left Kharkiv, we understood that it's a long time. It will be a long time. Sometimes we lived in Western Ukraine with our relatives, and after that, I had a dream to be in Lisa's graduate last year.
My undergraduate graduation ceremony.
And we decided with my youngest daughter to go to America to visit her.
You had a dream about Liz graduating, and you said, that's why I have to come to America.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned you and your younger daughter came. How did your youngest daughter factor into that decision?
Он имеет в виду, как на нее это все повлияло и как ты ее с собой взяла?
Now she is so excited to be in America. She is in school now. Her English levels, I think it's the best, not like me. And for her, it was like a fantastic trip to another country. It's a very long distance, but first 6 months, she could not think and speak about Ukraine and about past time. It was terrible time, and thank you so much our American friends who helped and help now Yeva to like decide this problem. Yeah.
What were the early days of being here in Nashville like for you?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot culture shift. Каковы были первые дни в Нэшвилле? Как тебе культура другая? Как ты себя чувствовала?
It's so interesting. Lisa said me that, Mom, you looked like a woman from war. But for me, American people are so friendly. Not like in my country. It's not bad, but we did not answer for question, how are you? We don't answer great, nice, good. We say so. Not bad.
Well, tell me what it was like for you. I mean, you like you said, you've been here at Lipscomb. You're on the tennis team for 4 years before the war broke out.
Yeah.
What was it like getting the news while your family was still in Kharkiv?
It was definitely terrifying. It was 5 a.m. for them. It was really late here. I think we have like a 7 hours difference. So it was like 10, 11 p.m. I remember having this big test due midnight, and I remember only having like an hour, and I went to Walgreens before to like get some snacks with my friend, and then I opened my news, or like I guess my phone started like blowing up, and I was like, oh, like what's happening? It's like 10 p.m. right now, and they're just saying that like the first bombs dropped, and I remember just kind of immediately going into like protecting mode and trying to like reach out to them, because my first thought was like, oh, like we're super close to the border, they're asleep, they like are not prepared whatsoever because no one knew this would be happening. So I try to like call them. I remember Mom didn't pick up. I called my brother because he sometimes stays up to play games and stuff. So I called him, and he's like, all right, like, I'll figure it out. He didn't even know what was happening yet. Like, it literally was, like, right as the first bombs dropped. And I was like, hey, I think you need to, like, go to the basement or, like, go hide somewhere, do something. But I remember that, like, for them, it was also such a shock to, like, wake up to this. Like, at least I was already done with my day, and it wasn't the first news I've heard. So, yeah, but, I mean, I definitely just felt really helpless. I'm usually... Again, I'm just like by nature very protective person over the others. So,
well, how long did it take for you finally to get a hold of your mom and your family on the phone?
Yeah, so I never did. As my mom mentioned, someone else called her while I was talking to my brother on the phone. So by the time he got downstairs, they're already awake.
Okay.
So yeah, but I think I'll let my mom talk in a second, but I think as soon as I told them, they pretty much just kind of gathered everything downstairs. As my mom mentioned, we did have a lot of pets back home. We had like 5 or 6 cats.
Wow.
A turtle.
Guinea pigs.
Some guinea pigs, yes. At some point we had chickens, but we didn't have chickens last year. But like it was a big house that we had back home, and we had a lot of pets. So like I guess they were terrified. My mom was terrified for everyone else. Yeva, my sister, who was 11 back then, she was terrified of like, oh, like we can't leave. We got a bunch of pets out here. Like it's not something you just leave. But they ended up taking just some. We had to like pick and choose, and someone thankfully was able to take care of the rest. But there are some that didn't make it through. So
I'm sorry you all had to leave them. I have a pets, and I couldn't imagine being in that situation.
You remember us, yeah.
Yeah, you love them. Now, Ukrainian men between 18 and 60, they have to stay in the country. I know you have a son in his 20s. How is he doing?
He's 29. And I think he's okay because we moved to like safe territory from Kharkiv to Ivano-Frankivsk region, and he walks and he lives every day like me, the same, because I cannot think about future and I cannot think about past. Yeah, it's the same with my son. Sometimes we talked with him, and he helped Yeva with homework because he's good in science, and he helps his sister.
Have you talked to other Ukrainian refugees here who have had to make the decision to leave without the men in their families? Have they talked about how hard that is for them?
Yes. Now I have some new friends from Ukraine. And one of them is a mother of tennis player from Lipscomb tennis team too.
yeah, so last year we actually had, so including me, there were 3 girls on the team that were Ukrainian, and our assistant coach was also Ukrainian as well.
Okay.
Our coach likes to recruit from Ukraine, so like we are pretty much the biggest like Ukrainian community in Nashville. There are not that many people from Ukraine, but we had most of them. So my coach, Jamie Aid, she's the head coach for Lipscomb's women's tennis. She just kind of, was being very understanding last year. And I know a lot of people from Ukraine that play in the U.S. and everything. And I just know that not every coach or every school was as understanding and nice about the whole situation as Lipscomb was. But yeah, so I know that one of the girls, her mom flew here with her sister as well. Her sister ended up going to Poland to be with her friends, and then her mom's still here. And it's definitely like a big adjustment and change for her because she had to leave her husband behind, and he's still in Ukraine. So, I mean, her and my mom hang out sometimes and stuff, and just try to, get together as much as they can. Community is very important in times like this because you kind of want to like relate to people around you. So I think that is something that helped me as well. When they got here, I could like relate to them and kind of like be with my community and kind of connect with that part of myself that I was missing throughout all these years.
I understand. If you're just tuning in, this is Nashville, and I'm your host, Khalil Ekolona. We're talking this hour with refugees from Ukraine and Afghanistan about their experiences resettling here in Middle Tennessee. Now, Natalia, what does it mean to you to have some of your country people, Ukrainians, here to help you make that adjustment here in America?
Уточни вопрос, пожалуйста.
Как ты себя чувствуешь, что есть поддержка вокруг тебя, особенно поддержка от кого-то, кто из Украины тоже?
Difficult question, but maybe a big support we have from American people. It's Lisa's coach, Jamie and her husband. We are very grateful, this family. This is a First Presbyterian Church, which help us all this time. And we cannot live without this support, I think. But to have friends from Ukraine in America, it's so good because around us only English, only English language, and sometimes we need to speak.
Yeah.
Like in at home.
There are definitely times when I come back for like a lunch break or something, and Mom is like spamming me with information, and she just wants to like talk to someone and get it out of the way. But I think it's funny because I'm like, Mom, I can tell you have not talked to people in our language in a long time.
But I understand that you're taking English classes now at Legacy Mission with immigrants and people from all over the world.
Yes, this school has many refugees from Asia and Africa and South America. From Europe, I don't know people, only me and my friend.
Yeah.
And that's all.
So it was still like a shift for her because she's traveled around Europe a lot, but she's never really been like outside of Europe. She has, but like it's not like a common thing for her. So like even coming to the course, like English classes and everything, she hoped to like meet more people like her, and I guess she just didn't find them there at first. And I guess they got some more people now. But
so it's folks from all over. Is English the common language you all use to talk with each other?
Yes, we have like English in English.
Okay.
Because all of us speaks different language, and it's so funny to understand another culture, another history, another tradition. So interesting.
Very interesting. I imagine the things that you all talk about is a wide range of topics, huh?
it really is.
Now, how have the family unit, the three of you, you and both of your daughters, how have you all been adjusting and helping each other during these very, very difficult times?
Things about that I have here 2 children. It's so important for me, and I know my oldest daughter is so independent. She was here for years without us, without family, and she could study and play tennis, and I think she is very successful. And I hope her future will be so good. And my youngest daughter, it's like my toy, my baby.
Yeah.
But she's not so young. She's 12 now. But this is like culture, like trip, like culture expedition for me. I understand another people, and I want to be with my girls.
I think I'm just trying to spend more time with them. I am pretty independent, as my mom said, and I like to spend time by myself. But I think having them by my side has been really, really great. And it's the kind of support I think that I wasn't necessarily mature enough back in the days, like before going to college. I kind of just wanted to like be out of it and like, oh, parents, you know how that goes in your teenage years. But I really, really appreciate them now. And like even Yeva, she's so mature for her age. She's super supportive. And I just, try to be there for them as much as possible and try to hear them out. I mean, once again, I feel like I haven't gone through the same experiences they have. I obviously was still involved because, I grew up there. It's my country. But I can't even imagine like the way they were feeling, because I was sick the whole time. Like when the war started, like I literally couldn't sleep. Like I couldn't eat, couldn't do anything. I think they kind of like didn't have time to like cry about it at first. They had to act right away. So I'm very proud of them. They're super brave, and it took them definitely a long time to get here and to learn new things, but I think they've been doing great.
That's wonderful.
I'm happy that my girls are so friendly to each other, and
We try.
and youngest daughter all the time says to her sister, "You are the best sister in the world."
She's sweet. I go to therapy a lot because I struggle with depression. So like whenever I can, I try to support her with everything because I kind of just worked through how it was for myself when I was at her age. So I try to be nice to her.
Well, a family that loves each other will forever remain strong. I want to thank you both for coming on to the show to talk to us. My guests were Natalia Diachenko from Kharkiv, Ukraine. She was joined by her daughter, Blaise Gainey. Thank you again, both of you, for joining us.
Thank you.
We have to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the ongoing resettlement process for Afghan refugees here in Middle Tennessee. Tweet us at This Is Nashville. We'll be right back. I'm Khalil Ekulona, and this is Nashville. In August of 2021, the Taliban regained control of Afghanistan after the United States military withdrew the last of its troops. The move brought an end to 20 years of military presence in the country. This swift and highly criticized exit resulted in a refugee crisis, with over 1 million Afghans fleeing their homeland and many more internally displaced. At least 500 people came to Middle Tennessee for relocation. And around this time last year, that influx was placing great strain on our resettlement agencies. So, how are these members of our community holding up now? I'm joined by Abdul Wahed Naqarar, who came here from Afghanistan with his family of 14. He's joined by Salim Tahiri, co-founder of Tennessee Resettlement Aid, board member of the Afghanistan Association of Nashville, and former guest of the show. Abdul Wahed, Salim, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, a note for our listeners, Abdul Wahed speaks Pashto, and Salim will be translating for him as needed. So, Abdul Wahed, I'm interested. I understand that you were in the military and you were working with U.S. Special Forces in Afghanistan at the time of the withdrawal. Can you tell us what the process of leaving the country with your family was like?
کله چې موږ افغانستان پرې خودو نو زه وظیفه کې وم نو جریان په وظیفه کې وم او همدغه حالات کې چې زمونږ نظامی تجهیزات په ځان کې وو چې داسې یو پلان راغی چې موږ افغانستان باید چې پرېږدو رالو.
So Abdul Wahed says that when that situation came, that Taliban would take over, he was in his post on a mission, and then he was told, and his group was told, that we are not fighting and we are leaving.
نو دا موږ ته ډېره سخته ورځ وه چې سلا دې په غاړه وي او ته تجهیزات ولرې او پاس نه کومنده وشي چې جنګ به نه کېږي جنګ به نه کوئ.
He said that it is very tough for us, and it was tough for us having gun and everything prepared for fight, and the commander tells you that do not fight.
Now tell me, when you left, when you gathered your family and you were leaving, what was that experience like? Was everyone worried? Was everyone together?
نو کله چې موږ کابل میدانوي ته رالو ساحه هم کنټرول که تخلیه هم که 2 ورځې د ساحه کنټرول لپاره داخل میدانوي هم صفا که پس د هغې نه موږ ته یو پیغام ورسېد چې خپل فامیلونه موږ وغواړو میدانوي د کابل ته.
Yeah, Abdul Wahed said that when I get to the airport, we cleared the airport, and then we were instructed to bring our families to Kabul airport.
So tell me, when did you arrive here in Nashville?
Nashville ته کله راغلی؟
2021 د 9 میاشتې.
September 21st, 2021.
Okay, so it's going on a year and a half, a little bit over, that you've been here. What's been the most difficult part about this transition for you and your family?
ډیر مشکل تاسو ته شو چې په دغه ترانزیشن کې دومره وخت کې تاسو مخامخ شوي ورسره په شروع کې.
مشکل دا و چې نامعلوم برخلیک سره مخ وو، لکه کمپونو کې او نور هم داسې ما به دا سوچ کوو چې د امریکا کې به زه څنګه ژوند کوم، ځکه چې زما په فامیل کې چا انګلیش زده نه و، دلته په ژبه نه پوهېدو. نو اوس ښه دی، لکه ماشومان مې مکتب ته ځي، انګلیش زده کوي، درسونه وایي، لورګانې مې ډېر خوشحالېږم چې مکتب ته ځي. تاسو ښه خبره سي چې افغانستان کې حتی په هلکانو هم تعلیم باندې بندیز لګېدلی. زه چې هغه ګورم او دلته مې خپل هغه ګورم بیا خوشحال یم، وخت مې ښه تېرېږي اوس.
He says the first when we were in the camps, we didn't know what will happen to us because we were seeing no future. But getting back to Nashville, everything set up properly, and then at the beginning we were panicking that how will we survive in Nashville in another country that we don't know the language, and my family also does not know the language, and the language barrier, the culture barrier, and that was tough. But right now kids are going to school, and my daughters, that is, I'm very happy that they are going to school back home. Those guys just even close to school for the girls. But I'm very happy for my daughters being here.
Mm-hmm. Now, Salimi, you've been working with people, helping them get adjusted to living in Nashville. Tell us, what kind of progress have you seen resettled Afghan refugees make over this past year and a half?
On the beginning, it was very tough for these guys when I was visiting them and in the hotels and places where they were put. And then we talked with them, and then we found some of the recruiters so that they can get to the jobs, and then they get busier. Because in the beginning, sometimes they were having the mental issues. When they got here, the culture and everything was different. When we put them in the jobs, they started the jobs and they got busier, and they are supporting now themselves, and they're happy.
Now, one of the positives is that there's an existing Afghan community here. The local Muslim community has also been very involved in the resettlement efforts. Ramadan Mubarak to everyone out there.
Thank you.
Of course, you're welcome. Now, how has the community stepped up to help people new to the country?
They tried also. When we heard about the fallout of Afghanistan, it was very tough and bad news for us here in Nashville. And the community also got the information, so we prepared our team so that we will help. I was the guy that I was mostly involved and was going to the hotels. And when I was going to the hotels, getting some meals there, because that was provided by the community, I was seeing one family and I was having meal for one family, but I was seeing 3 or 4 more families and were asking that, hey, brother, I was here for 3 or 4 days and we didn't have meal with the kids.
Wow. 3 or 4 days without a meal.
Yeah.
Man, well, what type of challenges does that bring?
The challenge... Actually, these people, when they got here, they didn't know where to go, and they didn't know about where they can buy stuff. And the resettlement agency, they brought them from the airport and they placed them in the hotels. And then that's why they didn't know where to go and what to do. And then I was going there and I was seeing the gap. When I saw that gap, then me and Katie Fan, we decided to build a nonprofit organization to reach out to all these people. Because for a single person or a family or a community of disparate community we have in Nashville, it would be very difficult to help these people. But luckily, we helped them, and right now, more than 97% of these people are working.
Okay. And so, Abdul Wahed, tell me, what are you doing for work now?
کار کوم ABC ټیکنالوژیز کمپنی کې کار کوم، چالت د موټرو پارټسونه جوړیږي او الته کار کوم. زمن کې بیا زه د ټیارې ګروپ چې د کوم ټینسی ریسلټمنټ ایټ نو ډېر کومکونه وکړل افغانانو سره. نو زه هم متاثر شوم، اوس دیو سره هم والنټیر کې کار کوم.
I'm working in ABC Technologies for living. And beside that, I am a volunteer with Tennessee Resettlement Aid because at the beginning they helped me and now I'm just trying to contribute to the community.
How does that feel to receive this aid but yet turn around before you're even fully acclimated here to this country? You feel compelled to help others who are in a similar situation.
ته څه احساس کوئ چې تاسو یو وخت کې چې تاسو خپل هم نه یاستئ او اوس راځئ نور افغانانو سره تاسو کومک کوئ، ستا احساس په دغه کې څه دی؟
ډېر ښه احساس کوم. زه کله کله دا خبره کوم د ګروپ ته چې زه چې چا سره کومک کوم نور افغانانو سره یا مثال نیپالیانو سره مونږ کومکونه کوو نو زه انرژي عالم زه خوشحالېږم، ډېر زیات خوشحالېږم زه.
I'm getting very happy when helping the other refugee communities. I'm helping also Nepalis, I'm helping Afghan community, but I'm getting very happy when I'm doing that job.
Now, let's talk about you're in the process of learning English. Has that been difficult for you?
بالکل اوس خده په خانه ډیر خوشوي یم ځکه چې بعضی کورسونه اوس انګلیسي کلاسونه علم نو هغه می جوائن کړی دي نو خوشاله یم خده زندگی خو روان ده.
I started attending ESL classes. Now I understand, and it's very good, and I'm getting to where I have to be, and I'm learning English.
I understand you have 12 children, right?
Yes.
That's amazing. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
How are they coming along with their English?
زه پوهېږم چې تاسو 12 ماشومان لرئ نو هغې انګلیسي څنګه ده او هغې څنګه
ښه ده. اوس د مشران زامن مې چې دي یو 12 کلن دی او بل هم 14 کلن دی نو هغوی انګلیش ښه شوی دی او زما د کور والا ښه دی انګلیش جوائن کړی دی اوس لګیا دي کورسونه وایي خو ډېر ښه شوي دي خپل مشکلات حلوی شي.
My elder son, 17 and 16, they can speak English right now. And they can solve their problem in English. My wife speaks English very well also because she joined the ESL classes. So we are happy and we are learning.
Okay. Well, Salim, tell me though, how is the language barrier? How can that affect opportunities for employment for people, new to the country like Abdul Wahed?
The issue is that if they don't know the language, there's a lot of challenges. The first work permit is one of the driver license is one of the big challenge in Nashville, Tennessee. That if you don't know English, you cannot pass the driver license test. And the same thing is happening. Like if they are going to a shop, so what would they do? Mostly my time is spent on translating and doing translation for these guys, and also our volunteer team that we have 14 guys. We usually do the translation job for them. It is very tough if you don't know the language and if you are going to a store and you are trying to buy something from, if you know the thing, that's fine. But if you are searching for that's tough. The same thing applies to their workplaces. But what we did, we found one of the guy who was speaking English, and we talked with the recruiters that placed this guy as intermediate between you and the employees. So we had that guy and they were helping them.
Okay. If you're just tuning in, this is Nashville, and I'm your host, Khalil Ekolona. We're talking this hour about how refugee families from Afghanistan and Ukraine are adapting to living in Middle Tennessee. My guests are Abdul Wahed Naqarar, who came here from Afghanistan with his family of 14, and Salim Tahiri, co-founder of Tennessee Resettlement Aid, who is translating for Abdul Wahed, as well as sharing his perspective as an advocate. Now, I imagine with a family of 14, housing is a bit of an issue, can be a big problem. Abdul Wahed, how were you able to find a place to live that you could afford?
کورونو پیدا کول د ډیر زیات مشکل دی او تاسو چې سوار لاس کسان وای نو د کور پیدا کول څنګه ته د مخکې وړلای شي او څنګه دی
دې کې رښتیا هم چې ما ډېر مشکلات تیر کړ ځکه چې یو میاشت مخکې یا 2 میاشتې مخکې موږ ته راپور راکړ چې د مخکینی کور به پرېږدي نو ډېر وګرځېدم حتی اوخایو ته لاړم زه چې کور پیدا کړم ما له چا کور نه راکاو او داسې تیارې کوم ګروپ د خوانه چیرته څوک پیدا شوی و چې هغه ما سره کومک وکړ او کور یې راکړ. ما له چا کور نه راکړ ځکه چې زما فیملی غټ و نو مشکلات وو.
Yeah, 2 months before when I got a notice that leave the house, it was very challenging for me. I even went to Ohio to find a place where I can live with my 12 children, but I was unable to find that. And I didn't know what to do. And then Tennessee Resettlement Aid, through their volunteer, one of the volunteer had a house, and they rented that house to us.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But, Salim, tell me, what are some of the issues that people are finding with housing?
The big challenge right now for these Afghan refugees are their work permits are expiring in August. So when they're renewing, they cannot renew it for a year because they don't have work permit valid for a year. So if they are trying to lease the house less than a year, the prices go high. And the other thing is that some of these guys who came from southern border, they're living here, they don't have any background. And the house owner are asking for the background check and also for their work, where they work. And if they don't have, they cannot find a house.
So the work permits, they're set to expire later this summer, and they still haven't received asylum status or permanent residency status from the federal government. What are you concerned that this lack of efficiency in the paperwork is going to lead to?
To a lot of homeless and a lot of jobless people. Because if they lose their work permit, they will lose their social security numbers also, because that is a temporary social security. And if it ends, they will lose the job and they will lose their houses.
Has your organization been in touch with the federal agencies that are tasked to complete this paperwork?
These guys who are here, some of them applied for asylum, and some are in the process, and some got the approval. So as soon as they get the approval, they get the work permit automatically updated. Right now, they need to apply for TPS. We tried whatever we could, but this is a federal government process that they have their specific rules, and we cannot interfere.
I understand. Now, Abdul Wahed, I'm curious, what are your plans for the future? What do you want for you and your family?
نو راتلونکي کې لپاره نو پلان شې نشته دی، خو ماشومانو تعلیم دی او راتلونکي کې لپاره لکه خپل پخپو درېدل دي، دلته کار کول دی. نو ګورو به مخکې همدا پلان دی چې ماشومان مې تعلیم وکړي او چېرته وظیفو کې شي همدلته خدمت وکړي.
I don't have any specific plan at this moment, but I'm very happy, and the plan is my kids when they get education and they serve back to U.S.
Now, you mentioned your daughters. You're very happy that your daughters are able to go to school, and because now in Afghanistan, the Taliban has just restricted that, preventing young girls, I believe it's after the age of 12, to continue their education. 2 questions for you. One, how many daughters do you have?
5.
You have 5 daughters.
Yeah.
So now you get to see your little girls grow up and to be fully educated here in the United States of America. What do you want for them with this precious opportunity that they have?
So خپل لورګانو لپاره غواړي چې دا یو ډېر ښه موقع ده چې هغوی دلته تعلیم کولی شي.
همدغې لپاره زه ډېر خوشحال یم چې هغې تعلیم کوی شي، دنیا په هغه باندې به پوه شي، عصري تعلیم هم وکړي دلته. نو تعلیم نه بغیر سړی بالکل ړوند دی. نو افغانستان کې خو داسې یو سیستم روان دی چې وړاندې ساتي خلک. تعلیم بند شوی دی، نو زه دلته ډېر خوشحال یم په همدې هغه باندې.
I'm very happy for my daughters, and I'm happy that they are going to school and they are coming back. Right now, and back home in Afghanistan, there is no school for those. I'm very happy, and I'm happy that they are getting education and they will serve the country.
Salim, really quick, we got about 30 seconds left. 2 questions wrapped up in one for you. What kind of support would you like to see for our refugee families here in Middle Tennessee, and where or how can our listeners help?
I think whenever they see the refugees, they have to help them. And also the housing is one of the crises. If our listeners can help with that would be great. And because these people are coming from, right now we have people from southern border or from the other states who are coming here as a refugee. And as a refugee, it's very tough. It's a very tough experience to go somewhere and know nothing, and then everybody tells you like, hey, you cannot get house because you didn't work it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't work because I wasn't here, so that's a challenge.
Yeah. How can our listeners help? Where can they go?
If they can just donate stuff for these new refugees, like household items if they have, extra couches, extra desks, tables, and that, and beds. Also.
Okay. I want to thank you both so much for being here. Salim Tahiri is a board member of the Afghanistan Association of Nashville. He was joined by Abdul Wahed Naqarar. Thank you both for being with us, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
We want to thank everyone who tuned in this hour. This is Nashville is a production of WPLN News and Nashville Public Radio. You can listen back at thisisnashville.org or wherever you get your podcasts. Our producers are Steve Harouche, Rose Gilbert, and Magnolia McKay. Our digital lead is Anna Gallegos Cannon. Michaela Elias is our technical director. Our executive producer is Andrea Tudhope. The masterminds behind our theme music are Larange and Namir Blade. Special thanks to Pat Lynch and Julia Ritchie. The conversation doesn't end here. Tweet us at This Is Nashville. Find us on Instagram and tell us what you want from our show by filling out our quick survey online. This is Nashville. I'm Khalil Ekolona. We'll see you on Monday, everybody, and be good to each other.